The worst part about waking up from a coma isn't the pain or confusion. It's realizing that everything you thought was a nightmare is actually your new reality. I learned this the hard way 3 years ago, when I opened my eyes to find myself trapped in a body that felt like it belonged to someone else. My name is Natalie, and I was 26 when a drunk driver decided to play pinball with my Toyota Corolla on a rainy Tuesday evening. I remember fragments: the screech of tires, the metallic crunch of impact, and the strange, weightless feeling as my car rolled down the embankment. Then, nothing. "Welcome back, sweetheart," Mum's voice was the first thing I heard. She was perched beside my hospital bed, perfectly manicured as always, not a hair out of place. "We've been so worried." I tried to speak, but my throat felt like sandpaper. Dad appeared on my other side, pressing a cup of water to my lips. "Easy does it, kiddo. You've been out for almost 2 weeks. The next few days were a blur of doctors, tests, and devastating news. Multiple spinal fractures, severe nerve damage. The words partial paralysis and long-term rehabilitation floated around my room like unwelcome ghosts. But the good news, Dr. Harrison said, trying to sound optimistic, is that the driver's insurance is paying out a substantial settlement, $600,000 to cover your ongoing care and rehabilitation. Mum squeezed my hand. "We'll handle everything, sweetie. You just focus on getting better." I should have noticed the gleam in her eyes when she said that. My brother Quentin visited a week later, bringing his girlfriend Kayla and his usual larger-than-life presents. "Look who's finally awake," he boomed, making my head throb. "Man, sis, you really know how to get attention, don't you?" "Quentin," Dad warned, but there was no real authority in his voice. There never was when it came to my brother. "What? I'm just saying, it's kind of perfect timing. My new business venture is just taking off and—" "Not now." Mum cut him off, but they shared a look I couldn't quite read. My friend Lena, a lawyer I'd known since college, visited regularly. She helped me understand the settlement details, explaining everything in her calm, methodical way. "You need to be careful with this money, Nat," she said one afternoon when we were alone. "It needs to last." "Mum and Dad are handling it," I told her. "They've set up some kind of trust." Lena's expression tightened. "Let me add something to the paperwork, just in case." "In case of what?" She didn't answer directly, just squeezed my hand. "Trust me on this one." I didn't understand her concern then. I was too focused on the basics, learning to sit up without passing out, fighting through the nerve pain that felt like lightning through my legs, trying to accept that my pre-med dreams were probably over. My physical therapist, Lucia, became my lifeline. She pushed me hard, but knew exactly when to ease up. "Your body is healing," she'd say, "but your spirit needs to heal too." One evening, about a month after I woke up, Dad came to visit wearing his work coat despite the warm weather. As he hugged me awkwardly around the monitors, something fell from his pocket. A bank letter. I managed to snag it when he wasn't looking. The letter mentioned a disbursement adjustment to an account in Nevada. That was strange. We lived in Michigan, and as far as I knew, we had no connections to Nevada. "Everything okay?" Dad asked, noticing my expression. I forced a smile. "Just tired." "Hey, when can we start looking at those specialized therapy programs Dr. Harrison mentioned?" "Oh, well..." Dad suddenly became very interested in his phone. "Your mother's handling all that. We need to be strategic with the funds, you know. Make sure everything's properly invested." That night, I lay awake in my hospital bed, the letter's words burning in my mind. Something felt wrong, but I couldn't quite piece it together yet. I thought about Lena's cryptic warning, about Mom's endless deflections regarding the settlement money, about Quentin's new business venture. My phone buzzed with a text from my brother. "Great news. Just signed the lease on my new office space. Mom says you'll be so proud when you see what we've done with the investment." Investment? The word hit me like a second car crash. I stared at the ceiling, my hands clenching the scratchy hospital blanket. They wouldn't, I thought. They couldn't. But deep down, I already knew they had. Coming home felt like entering a funhouse mirror version of my old life. Everything looked almost right, but not quite. Mum had installed a basic metal ramp over the front steps, the cheapest model available according to the sticker still stuck to its underside. My bedroom had been moved to the first floor, into what used to be Dad's office. "We did our best with the modifications," Mum said, wheeling me inside. "The contractor wanted a fortune for those fancy grab bars and wider doorways, but we found some reasonable alternatives." Reasonable alternatives meant I could barely fit my wheelchair through the bathroom door, and reaching the sink was like solving a puzzle every morning. "When can we start the full renovation?" I asked during dinner that first night. Dr. Harrison said proper accessibility is crucial for— "Oh, honey," Mum interrupted, exchanging glances with Dad. "We need to be practical about expenses. There's not enough left for all that premium stuff." Not enough left? The words hit me like ice water. "But the settlement is being carefully managed," Dad said quickly, "for everyone's benefit." The next week, Quinton hosted a grand opening party for his new business venture, some kind of tech startup involving cryptocurrency and social media influencers. I couldn't follow his explanation, but I could certainly follow the money trail. The party was held at his new downtown office space, all gleaming glass and modern furniture. A champagne tower sparkled in the corner, and waiters circulated with expensive hors d'oeuvres. "Pretty impressive, right?" Kayla sidled up to my wheelchair, champagne flute in hand. "Quinton says the family support made all this possible. Isn't it amazing how everyone's coming together?" I forced a smile that felt like broken glass. "Yeah, amazing!" During my next physical therapy session, I couldn't focus. Lucia noticed immediately. "Your mind's somewhere else today," she said, helping me with my exercises. "Want to talk about it?" The whole story spilled out. The settlement, the mysterious bank transfers, Quinton's sudden prosperity. Lucia's hand stilled on my leg. "Natalie, you know you still have rights, right? That money was meant for your care." "I know," I whispered, "but what can I do? They're my family." "Family doesn't mean they own you." She hesitated. "And maybe you have more power than you think." That night, I called Lena for the first time since leaving the hospital. "I was wondering when you'd contact me," she said. "How much have they taken?" "I don't know exactly, but Quinton's new office alone must have cost— Send me everything you can find. Bank statements, transfer records, anything. And Natalie, remember that clause we added? It's still there, waiting." Before I could ask what she meant, Mum burst into my room without knocking. "Quinton's got a surprise for everyone," she announced. "Come to the driveway." There, gleaming under the streetlights, sat a brand new Porsche. Quinton was leaning against it, grinning like a game show host. "Pretty sweet, right?" he called out. "The business is really taking off. This is just the beginning." I watched as Mum and Dad fawned over the car, their faces glowing with pride. Kayla snapped photos for social media. No one seemed to notice, or care, that I had to park my wheelchair at an awkward angle just to see past them. Later, as everyone headed inside for celebratory drinks, I heard Dad and Quinton talking near the garage. "The insurance payment cleared?" Quinton asked. "Yeah, but we need to be more careful," Dad replied. "Let's just hope she never finds out." "Relax, she's not exactly in a position to do anything about it." I sat there in the darkness, my hands gripping my wheelchair's arms until my knuckles turned white. They thought I was helpless, weak, just a burden to be managed. That night, I sent Lena a text. "Tell me about this clause." Her response came immediately. "Come to my office tomorrow. It's time you learned about your insurance policy's fine print." I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling I could barely see through the darkness. The the same ceiling my parents couldn't afford to install proper grab bars under somehow. The house creaked and settled around me, and somewhere upstairs I could hear Quinton's muffled laughter. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Lena. By the way, keep every receipt, every bank statement, every email you can find. Document everything. Trust me. For the first time since the accident, I felt something other than pain and helplessness, something sharp and cold and clarifying. They thought they could steal my future because I couldn't walk. Fine. Let them think that. Let them think I was just their token disabled daughter, grateful for their scraps of attention and care. They had no idea what was coming. I decided to give them one chance to come clean. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe I was wrong. I wheeled myself into the living room where Mom was arranging flowers, always keeping up appearances, and Dad was pretending to read the newspaper. We need to talk about the settlement money, I said quietly. The newspaper crinkled as Dad's hands tightened. Mom didn't turn around. What about it, sweetie? Her voice was honey-sweet, warning bells wrapped in sugar. Where is it? Mum finally turned, her smile perfect and practiced. It's being invested, dear, for the future of the family. My future, I corrected. It was meant for my care. And you're being cared for, aren't you? She gestured around the room. You have a roof over your head, food on the table, and a bathroom I can barely use. No proper therapy equipment. No, those things are expensive, Dad cut in. We had to make practical decisions. Like buying Quinton a Porsche? The room went silent. Mum's smile flickered, but held. Your brother's business ventures will benefit everyone, she said. The money will grow, and then we can look at those fancy modifications you want. When? Don't use that tone with your mother, Dad warned. I pulled out my phone where I documented everything. The settlement was deposited 4 months ago. Since then, there have been transfers to Nevada, payments to luxury car dealers, and $100,000 to Q Tech Ventures. Want to explain that? Mum's smile vanished. Have you been snooping through our papers? They're my papers, my money. You ungrateful little... Mum caught herself. After everything we've done for you. Done for me? You stole from me. We did not steal, Dad said firmly. We invested in Quinton, like always. As if summoned, my brother appeared in the doorway, Kayla hovering behind him. What's all the shouting about? He asked, though his smirk suggested he knew exactly what was happening. Your sister is being dramatic about money, Mum said. Again? Quinton rolled his eyes. You should be grateful you at least have a roof over your head. Do you know how expensive it is to take care of you? Not as expensive as your car payments, I shot back. That car is a business investment, he sneered. Something you wouldn't understand sitting around all day. I sit around all day because I can't afford the therapy I need. Oh, here we go with the guilt trip. Quinton threw up his hands. You know what? You're lucky we didn't put you in a home. Most families wouldn't deal with this burden. Mom didn't even scold him for saying it. She just stood there, arranging her stupid flowers. I pulled out my phone again and started recording. So, just to be clear, you all think it's okay to use my settlement money meant for my medical care, to fund Quinton's business? We're not having this conversation, Dad said. Why not? Afraid of saying it out loud? The money is tied up in promising ventures, Mum insisted. Everything we've done is for this family's future. My future matters too. Your future is secure, Dad said. You have us. I laughed, and it wasn't a happy sound. Yeah, I have you. Taking my money, treating me like a burden, and expecting me to be grateful for it. Later that night, I heard them arguing upstairs. I wheeled closer to the stairs, recording on my phone. She's getting suspicious, Dad was saying. We need to fix this before she finds out everything. Fix what? Mum snapped. Why, we did what we had to do. Quinton needed the capital, and she wasn't using the money anyway. It was supposed to be for her care. She has care. Basic care is enough. Quinton has real potential. He just needs support to succeed. I sent the recording to Lena immediately. Her response came quickly. Perfect. Keep gathering evidence. The trap is almost ready. I glanced at Dad's tablet, left carelessly on the coffee table. He never was good with technology or passwords. 3 tries later, I was in his email. There it was. A transfer receipt from my trust fund to Quinton's personal account. $200,000 labelled as family investment. I forwarded it to Lena, then wheeled myself back to my room. Through the wall, I could hear Quinton and Kayla laughing about something in the kitchen, probably planning their next vacation with my money. Just wait, I whispered to myself. Keep laughing, keep spending, keep thinking you've won, because Lena was right. The trap was almost ready, and none of them saw it coming. You're pushing yourself too hard, Lucia said during our therapy session, but I could tell she was impressed. 3 sets yesterday? 4 today? I need them to think I'm getting weaker, I explained, powering through another rep. The more helpless they think I am, the less they'll suspect. Lucia checked that the door was closed before speaking. Lena called me, asked if I'd testify about your reduced therapy schedule and the impact it's having on your recovery. Will you? She squeezed my shoulder. Every damn word will be true. At home, I played my part perfectly. I dropped things more often, asked for help with basic tasks, acted increasingly dependent. Mum ate it up, cooing over me like I was a child. See? She told Dad one evening. She's doing fine with the basic care. We made the right choice. I recorded that too. Lena's office was my sanctuary. We met weekly, building our case piece by piece. The clause is beautiful in its simplicity, she explained, spreading papers across her desk. If fraudulent use of settlement funds is proven, the court can authorise seizure of any asset used as collateral in the trust agreement. And what asset was that? Her smile was razor-sharp. Your parents' house. They signed it over as guarantee when they became trustees. Probably didn't even read the fine print. They never do, I said. They're too used to being in control. Right on cue, my phone buzzed with a text from Mum. Quinton's hosting an investor meeting at the house tonight. Please stay in your room. We need to make a good impression. I showed Lena the message. She started typing on her computer. Perfect timing, she said, because guess what your brother's investors don't know? His company's being funded with stolen medical settlement money. One anonymous tip to the SEC and... Not yet, I said. We need one more piece. That night, I pretended to sleep through the investor meeting, but my phone was recording everything through the thin walls. The initial capital came from family support, Quinton was saying. We believe in investing in our own. Substantial investment, someone commented. Family must really believe in you. Oh, they do, Quinton laughed. Let's just say we had a windfall, and we knew exactly how to put it to good use. The next morning, Mum and Dad were huddled in the kitchen, talking in low voices. We need another 100,000, Dad was saying. The first round investors want to see more skin in the game. We can take out a second mortgage, Mum suggested. The house has plenty of equity. I wheeled myself to Lucia's office instead of our usual therapy room. They're going to take out another loan, I told her, using the house as collateral. The same house that's already collateral for your trust, she said, understanding immediately. Does Lena know? Texted her on the way here. She says it's perfect. The more debt they pile on, the harder they'll fall. I worked extra hard in therapy that day, but made sure to wince and struggle when Mum picked me up. Maybe we should scale back the sessions, she suggested, watching me fake grimace as I transferred to the car. They're clearly too much for you. Whatever you think is best, Mom. At home, I found Dad's tablet again. This time, there was an email thread about the new loan application. He'd even attached a photo of his driver's license for verification. I forwarded everything to Lena. Her response was immediate. Got it. All the pieces are in place. Ready when you are. I looked around the house. The house they'd signed away without reading the fine print. The house they were about to borrow against, not knowing it was already forfeit. My phone buzzed again. Mum, Quinton's investors loved the presentation. They're going to fund his next phase. All our sacrifices are finally paying off. I wheeled myself to the window, watching Mum and Dad help Quinton load presentation materials into his Porsche. They were laughing, celebrating another win for their golden boy. Hey, sis, Quinton called out, seeing me at the window. Thanks for staying quiet last night. Wouldn't want your wheelchair ramps ruining the aesthetic, right? I smiled and waved. Let them think I was the grateful, quiet daughter. Let them think I was weak. I opened my laptop and typed a single email to Lena. Do it. Her reply came seconds later. Papers will be filed in the morning. Are you sure you're ready? I looked at my reflection in the window. The daughter they thought they could steal from. The sister they thought they could silence. The woman they thought they had broken. I'm ready. The trap was set, and tomorrow it would snap shut. The bank liaison arrived at exactly 9:06 a.m., her heels clicking on our front walkway. I watched through the window as Mum opened the door, perfect hostess smile in place. Mrs. Boyd, I'm Amanda Torres from First National. I'm here about the property inspection. Mum's smile flickered. Property inspection? We haven't scheduled anything. It's a standard procedure before asset seizure, Amanda explained, consulting her tablet. As per the court filing this morning. Court filing? There must be some mistake. I wheeled myself into the foyer. No mistake, Mom. The colour drained from her face. Natalie, what did you do? I protected my future, since you wouldn't. Dad emerged from his study, drawn by the commotion. What's going on? Sir, Amanda said, I need to document the current state of the property. The court has authorised an inspection in preparation for potential seizure under Trust Violation Clause 247B. Trust violation? Dad's voice went up an octave. What trust violation? The one you triggered when you stole my settlement money, I said quietly. Remember that paperwork you signed without reading? The house was collateral. Mum's perfect mask cracked. You can't do this. We're your parents. Parents don't steal from their disabled daughter. We didn't steal, Mum shrieked. We invested in Quinton's failed businesses, in his Porsche, in everything except my care. Amanda cleared her throat. I need to begin the inspection. Please don't remove any fixtures or make any alterations to the property. As if on cue, Quinton burst through the front door. What's this about a court filing? My investors are freaking out. Your sister, Mum spat, is trying to take our house. Not trying, I corrected. Taking, legally, just like you took my future. Quinton advanced on my wheelchair. You ungrateful little... I wouldn't, a new voice said. My cousin Darnell stood in the doorway, his massive frame blocking the light. Step away from her. This is family business, Quinton snapped. Darnell's smile was cold. Exactly why I'm here. Family. Mum turned to me, switching tactics. Her voice went soft, pleading. Sweetheart, be reasonable. Think about what this will do to our reputation, to the family name. Should have thought about that before you emptied my trust fund. We can fix this, Dad said desperately. We'll take out a loan, replace the money. With what collateral? I asked. The house you already signed away? Or maybe Quinton's Porsche? Amanda continued her inspection, taking photos and measurements, seemingly oblivious to the family drama unfolding around her. This will kill your mother. Dad tried again. Like making me skip therapy sessions didn't kill me. Like watching Quinton blow my care money on crypto didn't kill me. You're being dramatic, Quinton scoffed. I pulled out my phone. Really? Let's hear what you all have to say about it. I pressed play. Mum's voice filled the room. She wasn't using the money anyway. Then Dad's, we need to fix this before she finds out everything. And finally, Quinton's drunken boast to his investors. Let's just say we had a windfall, and we knew exactly how to put it to good use. The room fell silent except for Amanda's clicking camera and tapping keyboard. You recorded us, Mum whispered. I learned from the best, Mum. Always keep evidence, right? Isn't that what you taught me? The inspection is complete, Amanda announced. You'll receive formal documentation within 3 business days. Please remember, no alterations to the property. As she left, Darnell moved to stand behind my wheelchair. A silent guardian. You have 30 days, I said quietly. The court will give you 30 days to vacate. You can't be serious, Quinton laughed, but there was fear in his eyes. Where are we supposed to go? Maybe sell the Porsche? I hear those crypto investments aren't doing so well anyway. Mum collapsed onto the stairs, her perfect posture finally breaking. Please, Natalie, be reasonable. We can talk about this. Like you talked to me about spending my settlement. Like you talked to me about cutting my therapy. Like you talked to me about anything. Dad just stood there looking old and deflated. We thought we were doing the right thing. No, I said, wheeling myself towards my room. You thought I was too weak to fight back. That's a very different thing. This isn't over, Quinton called after me. I stopped and turned. Actually, it is. Check your investor emails. Turns out the SEC is very interested in medical settlement money being used for unauthorized business ventures. As I closed my door, I heard Mum start to cry. Not her usual manipulative tears, but real, broken sobs. I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. The court order arrived on a Tuesday morning. Mum refused to open it, so Dad did, his hand shaking as he broke the seal. 30 days, he confirmed, voice hollow. They're giving us 30 days to vacate. Quinton stormed in, waving his phone. My accounts are frozen. All of them. What did you do? Me? I raised an eyebrow. I didn't do anything. But it turns out using fraudulently obtained medical settlement money for business ventures is illegal. Who knew? You've ruined everything, he shouted. My investors are pulling out. Kayla's talking about taking a break. The SEC is... The SEC is what? I interrupted. Investigating where your startup capital came from? Funny how that works. Mom appeared in the doorway, looking like she'd aged 10 years overnight. I just got off the phone with the country club. They've suspended our membership pending the legal situation. Not the country club, I gasped mockingly. However will we survive? You're killing your mother's spirit, she whispered. No, Mum, you killed mine first, multiple times. Every time you chose Quinton over my health. A loud banging from upstairs made us all jump. Darnell, who'd appointed himself my unofficial bodyguard, appeared at the top of the stairs. Your brother's girlfriend is clearing out her stuff, he reported, and taking some family jewellery with her. What? Mum ran upstairs, her social disgrace temporarily forgotten. Quinton's face went pale. She wouldn't... Oh, but she did, Darnell smiled. I watched her pack up your grandmother's pearls and that vintage Rolex. Said something about compensation for wasted time. Those weren't hers to take. Mum's voice shrieked from above. Like my settlement, it wasn't yours to take, I called back. Dad sank into a chair, looking defeated. Natalie, please. We can work something out. The house has been in the family for generations. Should have thought about that before you signed it away. Did you even read the trust agreement?" His silence was answer enough. Quentin paced the room like a caged animal. "This is just spite. Pure spite." "No," I corrected him. "This is consequences. Remember when you said I should be grateful you didn't put me in a home, that I was lucky to have a roof over my head? Well, now it's my roof." The doorbell rang. Darnell answered it to find Lena standing there with a contractor. "Hope you don't mind," she said brightly, walking in. "We're just here to measure for the renovations. Full accessibility upgrade, proper wheelchair ramps, modified bathroom fixtures." "You can't do this," Mum said, coming back downstairs. "We haven't even moved out yet." "Just planning ahead," Lena replied. 30 days goes by quickly. The contractor moved through the house, taking measurements and making notes. He passed Quentin's room just as Kayla emerged, dragging a heavy suitcase. "Keep the Rolex," she spat at him. "Sell it! You'll need the money more than me." Mum followed her, pleading, "Kayla, dear, those are family heirlooms." "Family?" Kayla laughed bitterly. "You mean the family that stole from their own daughter? The family that's about to be homeless? No thanks. I'm out." She stormed past us all, the front door slamming behind her. Dad finally spoke up, his voice broken. "I'm sorry, Natalie. I should have stopped this. Should have protected you. But you didn't," I said quietly. "You never did." "What do you want?" Mom asked. "Money? We'll find a way to pay you back." "I want what was already mine. My settlement, my independence, my future." "And our future?" Quentin demanded. "Where are we supposed to go?" "Maybe try one of those budget apartments you said would be good enough for me. The ones you suggested when you wanted to sell this house for your business?" The contractor finished his measurements and approached me. "We can start work in about 5 weeks. Full accessibility throughout. Therapy room in the converted bedroom, everything up to medical code." "Perfect," I said. "That's exactly what the settlement was meant for in the first place." Mum started crying again, but I'd grown immune to her tears. They were just water now, not guilt. Lena touched my shoulder. "Need anything else today?" I looked around at my family. Mum's mascara-streaked face, Dad's defeated slump, Quentin's impotent rage, the people who thought they could steal my future because I couldn't walk. "No," I said. "I think everything's exactly where it should be." The contractor's pencil scratched against his notepad, measuring out my new future in inches and feet. Every mark was a victory, every number a step toward independence. They had taken everything from me. Now I was taking it back. Moving day arrived with a grey sky and scattered rain. I watched from the front window as Dad loaded boxes into their rented U-Haul. Mum hadn't emerged from the house yet, still making a show of her devastation. "Need help with that?" Darnell called out to Dad, who was struggling with a heavy box. "We don't need your charity," Mum snapped, finally appearing with her designer handbag clutched like a shield. "Wasn't offering any," Darnell replied smoothly. "Just thought you might want to avoid dropping your precious china." Quentin appeared last, carrying only a small duffel bag. His Porsche was already gone, sold to cover legal fees and investor paybacks. "Happy now?" he asked, glaring at me. "Got your revenge?" "This isn't revenge," I said. "This is justice." "Keep telling yourself that." He kicked a box viciously. "You've destroyed this family." "No, you all did that when you stole from me." Mom approached my wheelchair, making one last attempt. "Sweetheart, there's still time to reconsider. Think about what you're doing. Think about motherly love." "Motherly love?" I cut her off. "Was it motherly love when you cancelled my therapy sessions to pay for Quentin's office furniture? Was it motherly love when you watched me struggle in a bathroom I could barely use while spending my settlement on his failed ventures? We were trying to secure everyone's future. No, you were betting my future on Quinton's dreams. How'd that work out? Dad paused in his loading. Natalie, please. Your mother's heart. Don't, I warned. Don't you dare make me the villain here. You had choices. You made them. These are the consequences. Lucia arrived then, carrying supplies for our afternoon therapy session. She'd be using the newly converted bedroom, my old bedroom, as a proper therapy space. Perfect timing, I said. You can help me check out the renovations. This is still our home, Mum protested weakly. Not anymore, Lena said, appearing with the final paperwork. As of noon today, the property transfers fully to Natalie. You need to be out by 2 p.m. Mum collapsed onto a chair, one of the few pieces of furniture remaining. Where did we go wrong? You want the list chronologically or alphabetically? I asked. You harbour such hate in your heart, she whispered. No, Mom, this isn't hate. This is balance. This is what happens when you treat your daughter like an ATM and expect her to thank you for it. Quinton stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the windows. Through the glass, I watched him walk away. No car to drive off in, no girlfriend to run to, no investors to bail him out. Dad finished loading the last box. The apartment's not much, but we'll manage. Like I had to manage? I asked, with inadequate care and empty promises. He looked at me for a long moment. I failed you. I see that now. Yes, you did. I'm sorry. I know, but sorry doesn't pay for the therapy I missed or the independence you stole. Mom finally stood, straightening her designer clothes, probably the last ones she'd be able to afford for a while. This house has been in our family for generations. And now it's in my part of the family, I said. The part you forgot about while chasing Quinton's dreams. They left quietly after that, the U-Haul coughing to life in the driveway. I watched them pull away, Mom not looking back, Dad checking the rearview mirror one last time. Lucia wheeled me through the house, now fitted with proper ramps, wider doorways, and all the modifications that should have been done months ago. How does it feel? She asked. Like justice. Darnell started bringing in my new medical equipment, a proper therapy table, exercise machines, everything the settlement should have bought in the first place. The mail arrived as we were setting up. Among the envelopes was a letter from a funeral home. I opened it with trembling fingers. Your Aunt Margaret passed last week, Lena explained, having known about it already. She left you something. Inside was a notice of inheritance, a second chance at security, but there was a condition, full severance of ties with Mom. She knew, I whispered. Aunt Margaret knew what they were doing. What are you going to do? Lucia asked. I looked around my house, truly mine now, set up for my needs, not their greed. The therapy room waited, properly equipped. The accessible bathroom gleamed. Everything was as it should have been from the start. I lit a candle in the window, watching the flame flicker. The inheritance letter waited for my answer, but I wasn't ready to give it. Not yet. Some choices, I'd learned, deserved time to breathe. The autumn wind rustled through my newly installed automatic doors as I wheeled into my home office. My laptop displayed a fresh email from Lena. Another update about Quinton's legal troubles. The SEC investigation had expanded, and his investors were filing their own lawsuits. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. Your brother might have to declare bankruptcy. Please, we need help. I set the phone down without replying. The last 3 messages had been similar. Pleas for money, attempts at guilt, desperate bargaining. The doorbell rang. Darnell answered it, then called out, It's Lucia, and someone else. I wheeled into the living room to find Lucia standing with a young woman in a wheelchair. This is Sarah, Lucia said, Remember how we talked about using part of the house as a therapy centre for others? Sarah smiled nervously. I heard what you did. Standing up to your family like that. It gave me courage to fight my own insurance battle. Before I could respond, another text came through, this time from Dad. Saw your interview in the Disability Rights newsletter. Proud of you. I know that doesn't make up for anything. He was right. It didn't. Come on, I told Sarah, leading her to the therapy room. Let me show you what proper accessibility looks like. As Lucia started their session, I wheeled to my office to finish some work. I'd found a remote position in patient advocacy, helping others navigate the medical system I'd learned to fight. The mail arrived, another letter from the funeral home about Aunt Margaret's inheritance. The deadline for accepting the conditions was approaching. A knock at the door interrupted my thoughts. Through the security camera, I saw Kayla standing there, shifting nervously. What do you want? I asked through the intercom. To apologise, she said, and to return something. I let her in. She placed Grandma's pearls on my desk. I was angry, she explained, at Quinton, at your parents, at everyone, but taking these was wrong. Why return them now? Because I saw your interview too, about fighting for what's rightfully yours. Made me realise I was just being spiteful. Unlike them, you chose to make it right. She nodded. Quinton's working at an insurance company now. Entry level. Your mum's selling her designer clothes online. Your dad... She hesitated. He's actually going to therapy. Says he needs to understand why he failed you. I hadn't known that last part. After she left, I called Lena. I've made a decision about Aunt Margaret's inheritance, I told her. And I'm accepting it. But I want to use part of it to start a foundation. For others like me, people fighting for their right to proper care. Your mother won't like being cut off officially. My mother stopped having a say in my life when she chose Quinton's dreams over my needs. That evening, as Sarah finished her therapy session, she paused by my desk. Thank you, she said, not just for sharing your space, but for showing me that fighting back isn't wrong. I thought about Mum's texts, Dad's therapy sessions, Quinton's new humble life, and Kayla's returned pearls. Fighting back isn't wrong, I agreed, but neither is moving forward. I picked up my phone and typed a response to Dad. Proud isn't enough, but change might be a start. Then I wheeled myself to the front window, the same window where I'd once watched helplessly as they spent my future. Now I watched Sarah navigate her wheelchair down my properly graded ramp, heading toward her own future, stronger for having seen mine. Lucia appeared beside me. Ready for your session? Actually, I said, I think I'm ready for everything. I signed the inheritance acceptance papers that evening, adding my foundation plans as a codicil. Aunt Margaret would have appreciated that, using money to help others fight back, to claim their rights, to demand better. The house creaked softly around me, but it wasn't the sound of secrets anymore. It was the sound of justice, of consequences, of strength. My phone lit up one last time, a text from an unknown number. Saw your interview. I'm fighting my parents too. They think my disability means they can control my settlement. Can you help? I smiled and typed back, yes, and I know exactly where to start. Because that's what justice looks like. Not just winning your own fight, but helping others win theirs. I never wanted revenge. I wanted what they stole from me. Control over my own future. Turns out, getting the house back was just the beginning.